Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Umlink Energy Speaks Back, powered by Hark. My name is Paul Webb. I'm the founder of B2B Energy, and I'm your host. And weekly, I present to you experts from around the world. Welcome to episode 93, and this week I'm on manoeuvres in the UK, where I'm meeting a future energy expert who is currently a Royal Engineer and an expert in its own rights within the UK Army. Our purpose, as always, is to provide a good understanding of energy management knowledge from around the world, which is available today for us to deliver savings that impact on our planet. On our journey of energy management sharing, we would like to thank our sponsors, and they are Umlink, who are taking the confusion out of energy management, Hark Systems, renowned for their energy software, Clean Energy Revolution for their knowledge and networking through LinkedIn, B2B Energy for the 11-week energy program, Lexus Energy for the power management, led by Vision, who are an LED and a controls company, Simewatts for the electronic and EV transition, Carbon Black Global for their waste to energy initiatives, Cinefex for their insulation coating, SmartCool for their AC initiatives, and lastly, our certificate partners, Esther Energy. Today's special guest will become a true expert in the field of energy. He has dedicated 26 years to his queen and country, and now he's looking to serve our planet. So without any further ado, I give you Staff Sergeant Lee Pickersgill. Good afternoon, Lee, and how are you today?
I'm very well, Paul. How are you? It's a hot one today.
It is very hot, and you look like you're quite dressed up a lot. Is that heat rejecting outfit you got on today, your uniform?
I'd like to say it was, but it isn't. I've been out and about today, walking about the barracks, and it's really hot. I've recorded mid-30s today. To say is this is one of those in-your-face facts, where you can see climate change is happening. It is silly hot. The UK is not prepared for it, and we'll just see what happens today and tomorrow.
Right. So I had 38 on my watch earlier, and I was because we're in the red zone down in London, just off of London, and I've just come off a call to Italy, in Venice, and there was exactly the same temperature we was reading. So they've had it hot as well. So this is going right across Europe, this heat wave. And it's totally out of the blue, isn't it? That's what that always gets me. You know, the weekend could be cold again. And it just doesn't make sense.
No, I don't get it.
And it is.
I was going to say what's happening around the world at the moment. What we've been doing to it, it's all coming to fruition now. Yeah. And climate change is real, and we can feel it. We can all feel it right now.
Yeah, totally agree. So Lee, we have met. You have been embarking on my training, and we've met through our mentoring. And we've just completed that. So congratulations on the 11-week program. You are now actually passed and certified as a global energy expert. So well done. So we've met through that, which is great. We haven't met in person, but we are planning to do that very soon. So for the benefit of our audience today, can you give us your origin story and where you've come from?
Okay, so I'm from the south of the UK in a place called Gosport. When I was 16 years old, I decided to join the military, the Royal Engineers, to be specific. And through that time in the military, I've done pushing 27 years of a career. I'm just coming to the end of the career now. I started in training. Royal Engineers are triple traded, as I'd say, in the military. Firstly, we're soldiers, like everyone else in the army. Then we're combat engineers, so we're the bridge builders. We do the demolitions, water purification, and things like that. And then we're also tradesmen. So I moved into the trade of mechanic, plant operation mechanic, to be specific. And I spent the start of my career doing that as a mechanical engineer. serving in the UK, down in the south, and then to Germany for 4 years. I also served in Belize, and did operations in Bosnia and Iraq as a mechanical engineer.
Wow.
Then my career moved up a stage as I was going through the ranks into recruiting. So I did a stint recruiting for the Royal Engineers and the Army, and tri-service as well, before then moving into a more of a sort of project manager construction side of life, as a section commander. Most points to note for that period of my life, I was did operations in Afghanistan, constructing control points and patrol bases during the 2010 era. And then from there, I moved into instructing, and I was part of a instructing team that predominantly looked at people that were going on deployments, and this was all over the world, be it in Afghanistan and Iraq that was still going on at the time, to parts of Southern America, Southern Africa, just instructing them on key skills, not war fighting skills, but key skills that are life-saving skills to do with IEDs, explosives, and things like that. After that, then I moved up to the job I'm in now. I did a small period of time doing intelligence work, making sure that we knew what we was doing at the right time in the right place. And then moved into what I'm doing now, which is more in the lines of facilities management, supply chain management, health and safety management. So the point with the Royal Engineers is, and the same with a lot of the military, you'll find that as people go up the rank system, they change their jobs, and they're expected to just change their jobs willy-nilly. You moved into a job, and you find your feet after a couple of months, and then you become sort of the SME or the subject matter expert of that job. So it's like you're just a person of loads of different sort of strings to your bow, and it's not like a one specific job, like the American Army do, because they've got quite a lot of people. They can afford to do that, where they go, bang, your job is this, and they become very, very good at it and know it in, day out. Whereas we have to be able to manage and spin loads of plates, especially as the British military is reducing again. So yeah, and now I've come to the end of this career, or just about to. I'm now looking. I've served my Queen and country for 27 years. I want to carry on that, but now I want to start serving the planet as well, especially in where we're at today with climate change, our energy bills, how things are looking for everyone around the world. And I've been looking on LinkedIn. I've been on lots of webinars. I've been doing lots of networking. And one of my colleagues, Richard Galvin, managed to put me in touch with yourself. He knew I was interested in energy. He said, this is the man to talk to. So I got in touch with yourself, and we've done the course. Thank you very much for your... Yeah, thank you very much.
We need to thank him online, don't we? Because he'll be listening to this, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Lee, I don't know where to start, really. I normally sort of had it all up in my head regarding what am I going to tap into. You've had an amazing career. Did you say 27 years?
It'll be 27 years when I get out.
Significant. And for the benefit of the audience, I've seen the medals that this guy has. It's significant. And he's just recently received a medal from the Queen regarding her Jubilee. So, yeah, Lee, I'm really intrigued about your stepping stone into the climate change and energy management. I want to go back right to the beginning. You're 16 years of age. What was the trigger to say, I'm going to join the army?
Do you know what? I was a real keen footballer. And I wasn't that bad either. And I had the dream, like every other youngster, was to become a professional footballer. I had lots of trials. I had scouts come to watch me. And I think at that time in my life, I was a bit, I wasn't very good at waiting for things to happen. And there was no jobs that I wanted to do at the time. I didn't want to go to college. I'd had enough of education, although I loved school. and I didn't want to go and stack shelves anywhere. Not that that's a bad job, but it just wasn't for me. So my father was in the military. He was a Royal Engineer,
Okay.
and he actually left when I was, because of me. He'll never blame me to my face, but he left. He left when I was born because he was going to be assigned overseas, and he wouldn't have seen me for the first 4 months of my life.
Wow.
In hindsight, was it a good thing for him? I think he should have stayed in, but that's my opinion. But he knew what the Royal Engineers was about specifically, and he gave me some good insight and good tips, and said, "Listen, you'll do far worse than join the Royal Engineers. You'll get a trade. You'll learn some fantastic life skills, and then it's up to you how we move on from there." I was very fortunate. I've had a really good upbringing. Both my parents have sort of put me on the straight.
So I'm thinking this, and I'm sure the audience will think. So he's good at football. Why didn't he join Man United, or why didn't he go and follow his dream? No, he joined the army. Was it good for sport and that activity? Is that because I know you do play football quite a lot for the army, don't you?
Yeah. So joining the army, again, my dad was a big aid in that. He said he used to play football for the army, and you can get recognised. And it was the point where people were getting recognised in other clubs. So you had people like Guy Whittingham. He was in the army, and he got poached and brought out. Like I said, I was tired of waiting for people to come and say you've got a contract. So I just said, listen, I need to do something. I can't be sitting around. I need to do something. I joined the army, and I did quite well in the army as a youth. I played for the army youth as a youngster, and I'm still playing for my regiment today at the ripe old age of 43. So I've still got it. I'm still fit enough to run around and give the kids a good.
You give them a good running,
a good running, a good game.
Yeah. Right.
I like to run around that much, so that they should be much fitter than me, really, on paper.
So I want to start looking at some transition, because obviously you mentioned tri-skills in the beginning. So, and you went to all these countries. You didn't go all to these countries to be behind the scenes doing this work. You was actually actively involved in these sort of issues, wasn't you? You got involved out there, didn't you?
So my operations overseas. So I worked in Germany for 4 years. I worked in Belize for a year as well. But the actual operations to note was I did a time in Northern Ireland at the back end of the 90s, and it was peacekeeping basically. And then I did a stint in Bosnia. Again, it was peacekeeping. Both of these were as a mechanical engineer. So I was sort of like the support agency of the army at the time. So everything they needed to go out of the door, out of the camps, needed to be serviceable, maintained, and whatnot. And I was part of those teams. Leading on to Afghanistan and Iraq, that's when we was building. We call it accommodation. Like if you could picture like a mini castle. Like a security zone where it would be hard to put bullets through or shells through, somewhere like a safe haven for the infantry battle groups and the artillery to deploy out of. It was quite a hard but very, very good tour. On that tour, we lost one of my friends and comrades in one of my patrols, and it was really hard. But the lads, it was almost like we was trained. Something that you said to me actually through our tuition, that we look like we've been trained to be trained.
Yeah.
And we just do our job. It's what we do. And we've done so much training, so much preparation for these operations that everything we do is second nature. So if anything goes wrong, we can deal with it straight away.
Yeah.
But the builds, what I put into Afghanistan in my time there, and I instructed there as well after that tour for people that go out to do the jobs that I was doing. So that part of it was really, really good for me. I got a lot out of it, knowing that I was making a difference.
Yeah,
I'm one of those people that just like to make a difference.
And brings us on nicely, the word making a difference, because I think I can answer the next stage of these questions really. So we're coming to the end of your career. You've got many, many choices regarding what you can be doing, but you've chosen this subject of energy, and I'd say it broadly, what you want to focus on. So what's the trigger for that?
My family, at the end of the day. I'm very, very conscious. It's out there. Everyone should know about it. I think the problem being is it's education for everyone. I've been educated, or I've looked into it. I've researched it, and I know that climate change is here. The energy issues are here, and I've got a young family at the moment, and I want us to have, or them to have, the best life they possibly can. So if I can just do a small bit, whether it's in energy management or being someone that's can do some talking or give awareness to people, then that's all it's down to me. I just want to make a difference so that people are educated. We spoke about on one of our many chats about the David Attenborough Netflix thing he did, and when you see that, it really resonates. And if everyone on the planet could watch that, and not have any distractions, just sit there for that hour or so and just watch it. What David Attenborough said, I know he's one of ours, I know he's a fellow Brit, but he basically put it all in a nutshell, and he was really really to the point. And when you listen to it, especially if you're on your own, where you've got no other distractions, you really pay attention to what he's got to say. And actually, on the Queen's Jubilee party, I don't know if you watched it, all the listeners watched it. Prince William also echoed the same thing.
Exactly.
And I thought it was just really fantastic, and really to the point that all we need to do is everyone needs to have that little bit of education, buy into that education, and just do your little bit. Everyone can do a bit, and we should be on the right track.
It's interesting to hear many people standing up and putting their head above that parapet to be shot at. Just mention it now, isn't there? We've had Prince William. He stood up in front of a massive audience to mention, and he was saying it on behalf of the Queen. So we know the royal family. We know that Prince Charles is very heavily sort of focused on climate change, etc., and the sustainability. But we're hearing loads of different, film stars in America stepping up into that as well. So it's the step change we've seen over the last couple of years, really, since we've gone through the COVID side of it. And I think we are seeing more and more focus on that. I think we've got a long way to go, but at least we're seeing some glimmers of that. So how does that make you feel, knowing, we don't joke about this, because I started talking about you serving the Queen and now serving the planet. How does that make you feel? Because I can imagine you was very proud knowing you were serving the Queen. Does that still maintain knowing you're serving the planet?
Most definitely. If I can, like I say, I'm all about making a difference. Although I served the Queen, I was unfortunate. I've never actually met her, but she's my Colonel in Chief. She's my boss at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But it's not just the Queen; it's the people. It's everyone. It's everyone in our nation. It's everyone around the world. We have conflicts, and we in the military are trained and choose to do the job to protect everyone and do our bit to keep the peace and change other people's lives. Now I'm getting to that stage where I'm going to leave that force, that team, that family, and we are a family. It's a really strange thing to describe, the camaraderie you have in the military, and the teamwork and the work ethic, the values, the standards we've got. It's drummed into us, and being able to bring that out into the civilian world, which I'm actually still quite anxious about, to be fair, because all I've known in my life is wearing the green kit. I've never even had a paper round. This is all I've ever done. So to become a civilian and knowing the skills I've got. Another thing with the military is we're very humble. We don't understand what actual skills we can bring to civilian companies and sectors. I hear from so many different recruiters and advisors that we need to sell ourselves, don't sell ourselves short. But it's, I mean, you know me now. We've known each other for a couple of months, and we get on, and I think it's just that positivity. We in the military, we're always positive. We have to be, and it's bringing that out.
Nothing's too hard,
and helping everyone else be positive.
Yeah,
getting everyone else on board.
Yeah, and nothing's too hard to do as long as we plan. We talk about planning, don't we, in our training? And you have your sayings around the planning. Planning is important. If we plan, that's where we need to start, and that's really early on in what we're doing. And I'm sure all the skills that you have, I call them soft skills compared to the energy management skills, they're going to be totally aligned with what we're doing. We need to be, it needs to be a military maneuver regarding energy management. We need a process. I go back to the 4 principles, as you know, and then we work on the 4 principles and we work on that process, and that process has a military process regarding, we do number 1, we then go on to number 2, we do number 2, then 3. That's, I found it such a pleasure training someone like yourself, because one, you're born to be trained. You're the first person that listened to all of my podcasts. And I think you need a medal for that as well. I might have to arrange a medal to send you a medal. But you've listened to all the podcasts. Every time we come on the call, you was give me the highlights and commentary around the questions and what came out of those podcasts. And I hope you go and listen to this podcast as well when you're driving into work in the next couple of weeks. I'm sure you will.
I will. I think I will, but I'll be cringing. I'll be cringing at my own voice. But yeah, I think it's a bit of a, again, it's something about the military, or especially that's been drummed into myself. It's the focus on what you want and how you want to get it. I know I'm going to be leaving the force. I know I wanted to get into NG, and I know that doing your course was going to be a stepping stone towards it. So I was focusing on everything. As soon as I knew that you did a podcast, I was like, okay. I've never heard a podcast since before I met you. I was like, right, I'll get into this, see what this is all about. Put the first one on in the car. I'm fortunate or unfortunate enough to have an hour commute every day, so it was perfect for me. So I put the first one on, and then it ran into the second one. I was like, oh, fantastic. Fantastic. I don't even need to upload the next one. It just runs straight into the next one and the next one. So I was just like, right, let's just listen to more. And the beauty of your podcast, Paul, is that every single person is passionate about what they do.
Yeah.
They're all unique. Some of them have companies, some of them are, and it's all over the world. They have their own different sort of things that they do. They're all experts in their field. But the passion that they all, it comes out, and it's really good to hear, and it makes me want to do it even more.
Yeah, that's amazing. So Lee, when's the D-Day? Oh, sorry, I keep referring. I've got all these military things in my head and war things. So when's D-Day regarding when you're coming out? What's the date?
So D-Day for me is the day before my 44th birthday, the 4th of February.
Right.
4th of February next year, 2023. But before then, I'll have some time to do some more training.
Yeah.
Find some companies, do some interviews, do some work placements if necessary. I just want to find my niche, somewhere that wants me and somewhere I want to be.
Yeah.
Like I say, I just want to do my bit.
What do you think your challenges are going to be?
Great question. I think the transition from the military life. Like I say, I've worn this uniform for the past 27 years, almost every week, and becoming. I wouldn't mind the feel of a nice suit. or but it's the transition into the civilian life and the terminology as well. I think terminology, there's so much in the military, so much jargon and acronyms and things like that that I need to sort of not forget, but I need to learn a hell of a lot to get by and be good in the industry, and leave certain jargon back in base, that civilians don't understand.
Like the word Roger when we're on the phone. The amount of times to Lee when we're on the phone,
I need to get rid of that one,
says, "Yeah, Roger that."
I don't like it. Don't like myself saying it, but yeah.
You just can't help it, can you?
No,
so we've got February the 4th. So that's going to be the time when you're going to be out there, and I think you are going to be an amazing catch. That's the right word for any organisation that's going to be looking to place someone like you. I'm going to be working with you to help you get that obviously position, and obviously with my connections and that side of it. So, Lee, what is your dream? What would be your dream job as such? What is that particular job you're looking for? Have you thought about that, or has it just got to be within the energy industry?
I think at the moment I just need to get in. I need to get in, get my foot in the door, and let people know who I am and that I'm on board and I want to do it. I want to be involved in either B2B or energy management, or just anything where I can make a difference. The dream would be to become. I want to be successful. I want to be the best I can be. I think I've got enough years in me to get up there and become someone, a person of interest, someone not too dissimilar to yourself, Paul. I mean, you know, you have a lot of followers, a lot of people know you and respect you because of what you bring to the table. That's where I want to get. I want to be up there with everyone as a person of interest that has made that difference.
And there's some stuff we're going to be working on regarding the sort of the Army, Navy, and RAF, because there's going to be many of you types of individuals, and we're already speaking to some that are considering them steps into the energy sector, whether it be renewables, whether it be energy management, data analysis side of it. As I say, and I see you as being an ambassador. You're leading this for everyone to follow into this, and I think you'll make a great ambassador. I want you to go and find that position, and find your feet. But I also would love you to keep one eye on this world, because you're going to be able to give so much to these guys coming forward. And like yourself, everyone's nervous. It's uncertainty, isn't it? That they're all looking at. Am I going to be able to cope without being in a team? Because you're going to come from this massive team to being an individual. And I think that's the challenge. And this is what we need to work with you on regarding that. And you've got a lot of people around you, Lee, personally, to help you through that. I can assure you that now. So on that note, we are at that stage. You'll be very pleased to know, because you'll know you're getting towards that end. Is there anything you can give back to the industry today as a takeaway?
To the industry, I've just completed your course, so I've just got myself my first qualification. So, with all of the energy experts that you've had on your podcast, I'm a very little small cog in the massive machine, but I want to become bigger. So, my takeaways: your listeners need to listen to all your podcasts. I'd advise them to actually have a listen. I know I'm promoting you, and that's fine, but actually, like I said earlier on, they're all influential. They're all interesting. They're full of passionate people, like-minded people, and they all have the goal, and they all have the same message. And I think it's all about education. I think there should be something in schools, colleges, universities, in the curriculum, just focused on climate change, energy management, renewables, things that people need to know about, because they're not educated. Because they're not educated, people just don't know. It's not their fault.
No.
They just don't know, and because they don't know, then the progress we're seeing, I think, is really at the moment it's quite slow. So yeah, education is another one, and there's one other thing. So one of the few core values that the military, especially Royal Engineers, take into their work every day is courage. One of the core values is courage, and you get physical courage, which is what a lot of people would think about the military, going to war and things. But we also have what we call moral courage. Moral courage is when you're doing something right, even though it's a harder thing to do. So I think that if everyone just had a bit of moral courage about themselves, get the education. Once they're educated, there's no excuses then. And it's the moral courage to do that right thing, whether it be picking up litter, turning off your energy when you don't use it, speaking to that other person that's walked by. Everyone needs to buy into saving our planet because it's in a bad place at the moment.
Yeah, totally agree. So Lee, that's amazing takeaways that feel will go a long way regarding the book that will be released off the back of this very soon, because we're getting very close to that 100 mark. It's been an absolute pleasure to train you, and obviously to the first day I met you, I said you were going to be on my podcast. You know that, don't you? And you sort of didn't believe that, did you? And you've come a long way from that day one regarding that.
I was going to say I was nervous. As soon as you said it to me back then, I was nervous, and I was quite nervous today as well, actually.
We want to wish you well with your sort of future. You are going to be doing some more training with us and some more mentoring, but we wish you well. We hope someone hears this podcast and sort of thinks, oh, I've got a place for him within my company. I'm sure that will happen. But until then, please, you and your family stay safe in these times.
Thank you, Paul. You too.